Alright, so I have a lot of catching up to do, but I'm gonna talk about Candyman. I didn't do it. I'm lazy. Who cares? I'm gonna talk about the newest Candyman, and I'm shedding like a cat. Um, God, I wish I was able to see this in theaters with my friends. I just watched it, streaming at home, all that stuff. I really wish I saw this in theaters. That was like the initial plan was to go see it, and then like Dragon Con was coming up, so there was a lot of prep, and then Dragon Con was happening, so there was no way to like have time to go see movies during a con. Then after Dragon Con, I just sounded like shit and felt like shit for a while, and then here we are in a few days. New York Comic Con is coming up, so lots of catching up. Anyway, so Candyman, I feel like, and of course I'm filming, so my phone is going off. So I feel like this is a great example of like the whole new generation, remake, reimagining slash this is technically a sequel kind of thing to the original shit. Like this is a better example. I mean, this is a prime example of like what should do, and like a great example of like how it could be done well. Because there's ones like the mess that is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequels. Because one, it's like the first one is just so like, brr, and the second one just like it's the '80s, like okay. Then like the later ones where like the Leatherface's name changed, and then you got this one sequel that was actually like the sequel to this other remake instead of the other sequel that had the remake that come out this. Then they had the prequel where they try to like make you think that Leatherface was a skinny boy before he became big. I don't know. Anyway, so like that, or oh my god, the fucking what the hell, that 2019 fuck off of Black Christmas. Oh, fuck off indeed. Or oh my god, the Craft, the Craft Legacy. Oh my god, that was horse shit. Anyway, there you go. Neck bones are cracking. So this is a sequel to the original, like at first I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, this is sequel to the first movie. Then I'm like, oh, they're grabbing a lot of elements to the second movie. I haven't watched the third one, the Day of the Dead one or something, so I don't know if they took anything from the third one, but they definitely took some from the second one, and obviously it's all based on the first one. So here we have, what's his name, in, like, the modern day, neighborhood of where the original one took place at. There was all, like, it's the lore of Candyman happening and all that stuff, and then I like the fact that they had, dude's main character as, he's an artist, so a lot of the stuff that he was doing, well, one, because it was fa'at, and there was like, ooh, nice visuals, but two, it didn't go that route of, when they, where did that accent come from? Did it go that route? Anyway, it didn't go the route of, when someone's just being like a weird, like, nosy person, or, it's like, suddenly, like the way how they figure out information, it's like, how do you, like him as an artist, it's like, oh, he's going to like talk to people and do research and all that stuff. And usually movies that do it correctly know to like, okay, research, look at stuff, call people, talk to the crazy old man in the neighborhood kind of stuff. But then there's some movies where it was like, you have the person go like, baked goods, baked goods. He shot JFK. Like, what? Like, how? Okay, movie. Anyway, so I think the whole idea of the artist thing and the fact that, obviously because he's an artist, he takes a lot of the interpretations and does his art, especially like in the beginning of the movie where his installation is just, looks like a bathroom mirror, and then he opens it, and I don't know what part of a gallery has like a little window thing that he was able to like do that, have you open the mirror, and then like deep inside the medicine cabinet of probably, was it like 2.5, 3 feet depth, because that's what it felt like. There was this other paintings talking about Candyman and stuff, Great on you, gallery space, for having that. But again, it's like, then also talking about current social issues, and again, you can use, I guess you would say, like, using, like, snooty big words and stuff, but, like, it makes sense because a lot of times, like, in the art world, like, that's how we kind of all speak. I mean, some people it's like, oh, you're really trying to sound smart, you know, and sometimes it's just, that's just the only way to describe stuff is the snooty odd things, like, you know, it's like, it's great, I don't know, I don't talk to a lot of people about my art, so, anyway, so, again, because using stuff like the current, like, issues with like, racial justice and all that stuff, they're able to really, like, pull with this, like, really able to, like latch on this movie and just, from the 90s, and just throw it back over here kind of stuff. I don't know if I'm making any goddamn sense by saying that, because I'm also not trying to go into spoilers right now. But anyway, so, there's a lot of explanations on that, whatchamacallit. And again, there were times where, like, also, again, they did that well, because it didn't have that, like, too woke for your own good kind of thing, like, not that, that, like, Antebellum movie, like, the ones where they're like, see, we're talking about racism, see, like, it wasn't, like, one of those kind of things, like, where it's like, I know, that's what you're talking about. You don't need to, like, constantly, like, pause the movie for a half second and be like, you know, like, that shit drives me up a fucking wall, and so is my hair, apparently, there, anyway, yeah, I don't know what else to say, like, I guess I want to go into spoilers, but I guess 1, 2, 3 spoilers. So, Tony Todd is in this movie. That was one thing I was, like, thinking is like, how can you one-up Tony Todd, because he's amazing. He is Candyman, and, you know, what's his name, actor, is an amazing actor, so, nothing against him, but again, it's like a thing of, like, it's like how, like, Robert Englund has always been Freddy, and, like, the one time they didn't have him as Freddy, everyone's like, ah! You know, like, everyone's like, fuck this shit! Fuck it! You know, it's like that, you know? Although that movie was special, let's just say. It wasn't bad, it was just like, alright, here we go. But, yeah, like, Tony Todd was just there, like, at the very end for, like, a split second, and there was a lot of CGI to make him look like his young self, because I think the dude is, like, 70 now or something. Like, I follow him on Instagram. He's a very nice man. One day we will meet him with Paul in his Candyman costume. But, anyway, yeah, so, the deaths in this movie were done so well. Like, I like how, like, they weren't, surprising. I mean, like, there was a shock to it, but not surprising. I don't know if you can explain that. But just every time, like, when Candyman would show up and kill someone, I would just be like, oh! I would just have that, oh! face. Like, oh my god! Like, the entire time. Just like, you know, that, that Ari Aster response to, oh! Every time I see one of his fucking movies. Yeah, the deaths were great. It was just like the one with the art critic lady, where it's like they're just zooming out from, like, the apartment, like, building, and like, at first I was just like, okay, and then all of a sudden, like, she just kind of is like, blah, 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 and then she's like, huh, what? And then it was just like, and then she gets, like, lifted up, like, just invisible, lifted up, and then you just blood, and you're like, oh my god, like, then the gallery thing, where, like, in the reflection, you know, like, it's like, it cuts to, and they're like, I don't see it, and you're like, oh, like, you see in the background, it's like, you know, all that stuff, and it was just, oh my god, the deaths were great. They were, like, they weren't, like, too crazy, it wasn't, like, early 2000 remakes kind of thing, where it's like, you know, like Wrong Turn 2, where, like, all your guts are spilling out. I mean, like, that neck slit where you really saw, like, the meat in there, because it wasn't just, like, it was, like, it went, like, in, and you saw, like, probably a good, like, inch into, like, the freaking neck, so that was awesome. I also like that they kind of made fun of that art girl, because there's a lot of those kind of art girls around where she has, like, I know I have bright green hair, but she has, like, you know, the darker hair with, like, the dark roots, and she has, like, the cut-up Joy Division shirt, and I saw her, and I immediately was like, oh god, it's one of you. And mind you, I have green hair. I also love Joy Division, but girl, you know, And there's the part where she literally says, "Oh yeah, like love will tear us apart." And the guy who's sleeping with her was like, "Yeah, we get it. You fucking love Joy Division." I was like, I'm glad someone said that because I was just like, I was like, been around too many of you. You're really fucking annoying, you know. Anyway, there's that. Again, like I love the fact that they have him as an artist. Oh, there's a part where he gets stung by a bee, and oh my fucking god, this is like the only thing where I went, like with the movie, is that like he gets stung by the bee, and he's like, ow, doesn't put any ointment on it, and then like a day or so later, it grows into like something this big, and he's just kind of like, dude, like, go to urgent care, okay? Like it was like a few months ago, I woke up and like this finger was just kind of like swollen, you know, like it was just, this, but it was just like pink and swollen, and I was like, ow, ow. I was like, what the fuck? And I gave it like a day and a half, like I put ointment on it, I soaked it, I did all the stuff you do with swelling, iced it, all that stuff, and then the next day I was still feeling like that, and I was like, Mom, I'm going to urgent care because I don't know what this is up with this. I don't know why this thingy is happening, and I'm like, this is my livelihood, I mean, no, I don't do that. The art, I do the art stuff, Anyway, like, yeah, my hands are my livelihood, so I was like, I need to go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, I don't know what it is. I'm like, thanks, doc. And they're like, anyway, here's antibiotics, and then I was good, But yeah, like, he had this big fuck off, like, thing, knowing that there was a bee around, and he's just like, and then the entire time the movie, like, oh my god, it like grew and grew and grew, and I was like, oh, gross, and then, oh my god, and then in the end of the movie, we're like, oh my god, I'm already getting like so uncomfortable just even like thinking about it and talking about it, where like this whole side of him gets all like covered in holes, like all like trypophobia, the holes thing, oh my god, I'm like watching it, like just people getting their necks slit and disemboweled. I'm like, okay, tiny holes all over the skin. I was like, ah! Like watching it. I was just like, I had to do this. I had to be like, just like looking around at the actor, and I just could. Oh my god, I was like, just like all over. I can't. That makes me so uncomfortable. It's just like this weird. It's not like I'm scared, like, but it's just like a horrific, like, sense of dread, like, uncomfortable seeing that, oh god, Jesus Christ. Okay, anyway, whew, feeling things. Yeah, so that part I found was, like, a little ridiculous that he just didn't go and, like, bother, like, taking care of that. I mean, like, I get it, like, I follow Dr. Pimple Popper, and she has people who are, like, have growths on their bodies, and I get it. But, I mean, I don't know, man. It's like, I don't know. Again, like, you're an artist, like, wouldn't you, anyway. Yeah, oh, and then learning that the Candyman that they're initially talking about in the movie is just, like, this kind of, like, hobo guy, this like, weird guy who's just handing out candy, is like the initial guy they're talking about. But then they were like the guy who like met this version of Candyman, who like works at the laundromat. He was talking about there's been several Candyman out there, like the lore of Candyman, because before it's just the one guy, it's Tony Todd's Candyman, but they're saying how kind of like The Grudge. These figures of Candyman end up manifesting through like violent, death. God, my fucking nose. Ugh. And it's not even just regular violent deaths. It's like racially charged violent deaths because of how, if you watch the second Candyman movie, they talk about how like how he came to be, which he was like, this was back during slavery, and so that happens, and yeah, because the second movie was about how this white woman in the South moves into a large home and didn't realize it was a plantation house, and you're like, it's a large home in the South, and you're like, I didn't know that I'm living in a plantation house. Okay, Mary. So yeah, so it's like the first Candyman was Tony Todd's Candyman. Then it was like all these other people, you know, and then like at the end, like with the credits, they showed with the puppeteering, the shadow like art cutouts, which I love that. I love that they use that for like flashbacks. Besides what you already saw in the beginning of the movie, like during the story time, you know, instead of just having people act it out or turn it black and white or something, you know, it was just like, okay, we're gonna do this, and I felt that was very, very smart to go that route with it, because then you could kind of, you know, be a little extra with it. But yeah, so it was a lot, yeah, pretty much saying like, pretty much these people died from the police. Who killed them? The police, you know, because the old man from, was it like the 70s or something, that is kind of like the Candyman that was showing up in this movie. You know, he was just like an old man with a hook for a hand, because back in the day, you know, the only kind of prosthetic you had was a hook if you lost your hand. And when the cops found him, like the whole squad rushed downstairs to like, there was like, you saw 2 cops in a squad car, and then there was like 10 of them rushing in. 10 cops for one black guy. Never heard that one before, you know? And they were just, they killed him, because that's what they do, you know? But yeah, so, like, using that as like kind of like the source of it, and also, again, it all ties back to the main character being an artist, you know, pretty much making his money, like him and his girl having that amazing like duplex apartment. I'm like, okay, you have that, I have this that's falling apart, that's great, my art doesn't sell, I mean, great on you, bro. I also like that their portrayal of him as an artist wasn't like ridiculous, because I can't stand the like, this is what an artist is. Like, I love that he didn't have like the $700 wooden easel, that he had his like 72 by 60 canvas, and he's splashing stuff, and he's just like, I'm an artist. Like, I'm glad they didn't have that, where he just like, he hung the canvas on the wall, and it was like an 18 by 24, and he just starts going. Okay, that is a lot more, like, that's a lot more what actual artists do, and not whatever you think artists do. He put on like his little like smock thing. I mean, like, I don't paint like that, so I just kind of paint like, you know, I don't splashy, you know. But anyway, I like that they did that, because again, it wasn't like the big canvas. I'm like, I'm an artist, I splash paint, you know. And I hate that, because it's like, no, like, we don't do, like, go to the fine art department, okay? But like, the rest of us don't do that. God damn it. Yeah. Anyway, so, who's a motherfucker? Yeah, so there was that. Oh, the guy from the Misfits show plays like the girlfriend's brother, and I was looking at him like, he looks so familiar. And I was like, oh shit, he's the guy from the Misfits show. Oh god, getting in my hair again like a cat. Yeah, so I don't know what to say. Oh yeah, when you finally see Tony Todd in the end, and he's just like floating. And at first I thought that was the main guy, and I was like, oh, that's kind of hokey having him float. But then you find out it's Tony Todd, you're like, alright, that's fine. Like, he can do whatever he wants. You know, he just shows up on set for like 5 minutes and just like, tell everybody, you know, and you're like, what? Yeah, because like, it was like the lore thing of like, he has to like die, like if like cops are coming after, like, it's so crazy. It's like, he has to die, he has to get the hook in the hand to like continue on the legacy kind of shit. And that was like freaking ridiculous. I found it funny that like, because it's a horror film, like, they have to at least show like dumb teenagers doing something, because like, yeah, a lot of it was dumb adults doing something, but they kind of had to be like, wait, teens do stupid things too. I mean, I'm not saying they don't, for fuck's sakes, TikTok exists, but like, I like that, like, the one girl who went to like the gallery was like, oh, let's do this Candyman thing in the bathroom, and then like the awkward girl who's just like wanting to like you know, woosah in the bathroom stall, it's just like all this blood and everything, she's like, you know, all that stuff. That's crazy. Can you imagine being that one girl who like left that, who was like, she's like, Candyman, Candyman, and she's like, I can't do it, and then she leaves and then finds out they all died, like, oh, who's the pussy now, you know? Oh, now I have no friends. You know, I'm a pussy and I have no friends. Um, it's fucking crazy. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie a lot. Like again, like I feel like it's, you know, as much as hopefully any of that was coherent, but like I love that, you know, they took a lot from the previous movies, of course. They didn't do any of this stuff, like they didn't they didn't like retcon anything. It was just like, yeah, I know that's like that part of the lore that everyone likes, but you know, like when that's happened, that talk about writing. It's like, are you serious? Like that's anyway, yeah. So they don't like change any of that stuff. They add more to it because they're like, hey, this used to be that neighborhood, and then you know, blah, 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 and then using current stuff with it without being like, we're instead of being one of those kind of movies. Like, guess what? We're so smart, but it's like the movie gets it, you know. Again, they're not trying to be smarter than what they think they are. It's still a horror film. They do a great job with the effects. The acting was great, of course, you know. Yeah, you know, like I'm fine with this movie. I don't know what else to say. Anyway.